So good morning, everyone. In second part of this research module for fellows, I welcome again Dr. Easwar, and he will take us through the utility of AI tools. Dr. Vaibhav, who is our current fellow, has shared some basic abstract of a manuscript which we are working on with the raw data, and Dr. Easwar will guide us through that how, with the use of AI, this can be culminated to a full manuscript and where we need to give input. So I'm very excited to listen to this talk. Ishwa, uh,
Right.
please, you can share your screen, okay?
Yeah, 1 second.
Any questions you can put in chat box and Weber will inquire.
Uh, hi everyone, and uh, so I'll keep even if we didn't attend the first session, this should be still useful for you because I've kept these two separate. This is mostly a practical kind of session which I've designed to bring you up to speed with the entire workflow from the idea of a manuscript, which we have in our head. We may have few lines of abstract, but nothing beyond that. Sometimes we just have an Excel sheet of all the patients in a particular technique or a disease or something we want to study. Maybe a few lines in our head, but nothing more than that. So in these two scenarios, from that to get to a manuscript, suppose you want to do a prospective study, or you want to do a review literature, or you want to do a retrospective study, bring out all your cases, take out patterns from that. This is something that AI excels in. So in all these situations, you can, you can spend your time much more fruitfully if you use AI. Now, there is this criticism that AI is a copy-paste work. It is something meant for lazy, and it that somehow that it is something similar to plagiarism, which is what I want to put to rest. While you can do such things, it is just like saying that our PowerPoint or Word and Excel helps you and you makes you lazy and you should go back to the old slide sorter that our professors used. It is similar to that. So AI is coming in, it is already there, it is baked into all our software. So even if you don't want to use it, your PowerPoint has AI inside it, your Word has got AI inside it, the latest versions of Adobe has AI inside it. All these things has AI inside it. So it's better to come up to speed and get used to the new way of working, which is much more efficient. And if you use it properly, you will get a much smoother workflow. So the first stage, I have divided it into 4 stages. The first stage is literature review, which is often the toughest to dig out literature, bring out stuff that supports your hypothesis. And then second is also equally tough. You may have a very disorganized Excel sheet, a lot of empty values. Some of the values are not complete. And it's very difficult to take it to the statistician and spend many sessions with the statisticians to try to see which test will fit in and all those things, and then put it through the analysis. So the second stage is entirely organizing data, cleaning it, and all that. And third is statistical analysis, finally, to bring out the charts and all that. So you have, that is not our domain of expertise. We need support from, other persons with experience and all that. So it feels a little out of control. And then finally, not all of us will have English as their first spoken language. English may not be the medium of instructions we have studied in. So manuscript writing, to put it all together, becomes extremely challenging. So this entire workflow will get eased by the use of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, the term itself is very loaded and somewhat erroneous, which probably is a topic for another day. But so let us see. The last session I familiarized you to many of the tools which are available in the market. But I thought for a practical session, I'll just default to a couple of tools to get you started. These are not the only tools. There are endless number of ways these tools can be mixed and matched, and you can personalize your own workflow as you get more comfortable with this. So for discovery and collection, that is to um, get the literature, I'll just use Perplexity and Zotero. So when I did the first session, I talked about Research Rabbit, I talked about Illicit, I talked about Connected Papers, Semantic Scholar, PubMed.ai, so many available tools. We can use any one of those. For the moment, I use Perplexity and link it to a Zotero. Zotero is a citation manager. It started as a citation manager, but it is very, very useful, especially if you are a research fellow and you have many tasks which you have running parallelly. Citation manager helps you. It's like an end note, but this is free. At least the basic tier, quite generous, is free. Once you've done that and you've extracted all the research, then you have to do deep synthesis and find out what all the papers are saying as a whole and summarize it. And that is where you can pipe as in take the outflow from Zotero and put it through Notebook LM. Notebook LM is another tool by Google, which I briefly referred to in my first session. So this Notebook LM will give you very nice. I'll familiarize you with the interface, and it will give you a synthesis of the thing. Then let us go through the data analysis. So that's the toughest thing. So we have a data. Vaibhav has sent me an Excel sheet. I'll take that Excel sheet. I have anonymized it so that no patient data is uploaded and all that. So once that data, we can wrangle through the data and find out patterns and see how we can bring out the statistics also. And then finally the drafting and citing it. So that is where again we link it back to Notebook LM, Gemini and Zotero. So there is a loop going back to Zotero. So we start with review literature, collect our citation, work through our manuscript, and then link it back to the citation. So that's the end product. So to be honest, I actually worked on this entire thing. I was traveling back from work yesterday. So this entire thing was done in about maybe an hour and maybe hour and a half. So that's all it takes to bring out a full structured manuscript. It's that powerful. So get used to the new way of working. So as I said, these are the 4 steps we'll be going through. And what used to take so many months is, weeks and probably days actually. So this is the stage 1, perplexity and data collection. So I'll just switch over to Perplexity. I'll just stop sharing the screen. 1 second. Yeah, can you see the screen? Okay, so this is Perplexity. And right here you can have account just like the usual. I have a regular plan and I have a pro account which is separate. So it has all these options, right? And if you go to this more, there is an option to choose academic. So it has got many other type of things which we can choose, but academic is what we want. You can choose academic, and that will specifically put us into this mode, which brings out citations with only references in index journals. Otherwise, it will bring out website references, it will bring out somebody's blog post and all that. So this is the first step. So I have a query which you can just type in. It's like Chat GPT. You just type in a query and you can just press attach the documents and then submit it. The free version, as you see that there is a limitation to the amount of queries you can do. So the paid version is about $20 per month. So I have a query which I have already run so that we can save some time. Some of it I have already kept prepared so that it is easy for you to follow along. So at any point, if my screen is not visible, please let me know, because I'll be switching constantly between the things.
Sure.
So I had run this query here. Okay, this is entirely based on the Excel sheet that was sent to me yesterday. I was in train when I did this, so that's why I said it. The entire thing took about 1 hour, 1.5 hours, if you have the data. So I just queried based on the abstract that was sent to me, what are the long-term outcomes of a, say, 10-year-old or a greater than 10-year-old child who is going to be treated with a bipolar release for sternomastoid for torticollis. And just that one line of query, it completed these 3 steps. So if you see here, it went through all these papers, and if you see this citations on the side, which is all indexed citations, none of it is just website. So this is only available if you are using the academic thing. And once you do that, and then it gives you, it goes through a bit, and then it gives you a very nice summary. And that's why I chose Perplexity as a tool to demo. There are other tools which you can use. You can use equally well use just Gemini to do it. But Perplexity, I feel, brings out the citations much better. So it will bring out a very nice summary of this thing. And at the end of each, you will see that you will see the citation which it is referring to, the ones which it has used, and you can also check the source to see whether it is even true. One of the main problems with using these AI things is there is something called technically hallucination. Hallucination is when the model makes up stuff, and it makes up stuff and you will not know. It will make fake citations, it will make even fake DOIs. So it is always important to cross-check. And the model which works doesn't really know what is false and what is true. It doesn't have a concept of right or wrong and anything. That's why it said artificial intelligence is a very loaded word. There is no real intelligence in it. So, so it brings out a very nice abstract. So imagine just by just giving one line of thought in your head, whatever you have. So right up here, I gave the thought which was in my head. This is what I want to study. And your abstract, it gives you. And it gives you a basic reading of, brings you up to speed with the literature. It gives you a very nice, the studies and the scores that has been used, everything. And it gives you the total number of sources it has used. So this is your starting point. All you want right now is just to give the source. We will use the source to build the manuscript. We will not, read this and build our knowledge. We will just use the source. So if you click the source, it goes to this entire pane where you will have all the sources that has been used by Perplexity to build this entire manuscript. I'll just focus out of this tab to show you what Zotero is, because we want to link this source and to build our Zotero database.
So
Zotero, yeah.
Ishwar, so you raise this query and attach the abstract and data here, or you just raise the
No,
query and you
just one line of query, nothing more. The
and
data
it bro
attachment comes much later.
oh okay.
So this is just that one line of query, nothing else. So it will give you, summary of all the citations which are out there and only the published one. Right? So any other questions? Shall I move on to Zotero?
Yeah.
So we got the sources now.
So this is
Yeah,
the kind of citation or references we can use in this paper, right?
correct. Now we can refine this further. It entirely depends on our query. We can keep asking it. So for example, like here, we can ask a follow-up. So what is the evidence for
In adolescence.
greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for, 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for, 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for, 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So, what is the evidence for 10 years. Yeah, greater than 10 years. So Sorry for the lousy English grammar, but then so
Mm.
so imagine how fast this is. So you see that it just comes just like that. What what what
Yeah,
what would have taken us months of slaving away in the library.
yeah,
So you see that. So
really, really impressive.
that's it. So that's all the published papers. So if you want to find a lacunae in the existing literature, this is the way to go. We can say that what are the gaps in existing literature? Mm.
Mm.
So you see that straight away that there is a paucity of literature because there is a rarity of these neglected cases and all that. Something we have so much
Mm.
plenty in India, and it just
Mm.
gives you 15 sources. So the possibilities are endless. That's why it requires a different mindset to exploit these
Mm.
new tools that are available.
Mm.
So let's go back to our original thing.
Aditya is asking that is there any way to find out this hallucination, or is there any
Yeah,
plagiarism
so
check?
yeah,
I
we'll
think.
come to that. Yes, and hallucination, that's why I specifically chose Notebook LM so that, people getting started don't end up with completely fake manuscript and fake citations. It is impossible to find out sometimes, and you'll have to check each word, and it will sound so convincing, and it will be completely fake. So
Mm.
in the early days when just ChatGPT was released, my daughter had a school essay for Thomas Alva Edison, and she wanted to write a small intro about his uh, early life and parents and all that. I just, for the fun of it, I just put it into ChatGPT instead of the usual Google. Google did not report any, particular names about how the early life was and all that, but ChatGPT confidently answered parents' name, father's name, mother's name, where he was born, early schooling, everything. But each time I asked it, it gives a different parent name, school name. That is when I went in and found
Mm.
out that this was hallucinating. This was the very first model of ChatGPT that was around the COVID era. So, and they have not solved it. So it's still there. So we'll get back to this. This is now the sources. Okay. So this will link us to Zotero. So I have loaded Zotero in another tab. So this is Zotero. So we can go to zotero.org. It's a citation manager, and you can get a regular account. Mine account is here. And there is, for your version of operating system that you're using in the laptop, you can download the tool. I have the tool which is already downloaded, and I have done a few abstracts which I have attached. So I'll stop sharing this screen and go to Zotero to show you the app, how it looks. All right, so this is the Zotero app, and up top you have just like the usual, we have the file and view, edit, and all that. And here we have something called a new collection. Suppose you're starting a new study, you can just click the new collection, name it whichever thing you want. So it will name it. And here you can see a kind of just like library catalog, you can nest it as many levels deeper as you want. So I've already created one torticollis as I worked on, but you can just put it under my library. So something like, for example, say scoliosis or something I'm studying, I can just put scoliosis here. So that starts a blank sheet here. There is no references here. And, that's for scoliosis. So I have already done the same for torticollis, and I have added a few abstracts, not the entire thing. So how do you add these abstracts here? And you can see that beautifully it picks out the main author from this, and you can actually see the attachments here. For those, this is where the real power comes in. For those, there is no free PDF available. It puts what is called a snapshot here. For some, there is no snapshot and there is only a website. It just puts a blank. And for those that are free PDFs are available, it puts a little PDF icon here. So let us see how to go back from that sources and pick out and add this to this. I'll add one or two and just show you. I'll switch tabs again. 1 second. So this is Zotero. I'll go back to the. So here you have all the things. Suppose you want, okay, so this particular uh, uh, abstract, you want to read this, it sounds interesting. So I'll just click that. It'll take me to that website. So it'll take me to that website. And now here you want to install, after you install Zotero, you want to install for the browser you're using. I am using Mozilla Firefox, but it is there for Chrome, Edge, so whichever. And I am on the laptop. There is a Zotero mobile app and there is browser extensions, what we call a little link between the app and the software. So install this browser extensions using the standard things. So the browser extension gets installed under this, the extensions and themes. In Chrome, it would be under Chrome Web Store. You can search for Zotero extension. It is very popular. And once you install, it will give you a little icon like this. Sometimes it will be having an Z mark, and sometimes it will have this manuscript mark here. So all you need to do is open the website you are on and just go here and click that. So once you click that, automatically this thing will come. And if you see that it has linked my Zotero app and this extension, and it is showing me where I'm going to save it. I can switch it. I can, there is a glitch on this app. Okay. So I can switch it. I can put it into whichever thing I want. I can put it into scoliosis. I can put it into torticollis. So right now, just let us say put into torticollis. I can add tags. I can say just, okay, there's a glitch. Okay, anyway. So you get the idea. So we can just leave it at scoliosis, the torticollis, and just click done. So just like that, it is added. So let's see this paper. This is age-specific improvement. And let us switch to our Zotero app and just see how it is automatically linked. I'm sorry that I had to keep switching back and forth. 1 second. All right. So here, as I open the app itself, you can actually see that it has highlighted the most recently added one. And you can see that there is a full free text. And you can just click that and the text is already downloaded for you. So it's very powerful. And as I said, that there is a little PDF icon for those things that you have a free PDF for. Right. So that is much about Zotero. So it will allow you to collect how many PDFs and links and things you want for your study. So you have 28 sources that it has mentioned. You can collect all 28 or filter it further. So that work is considerably simplified now, and it is neatly cataloged. So once that is done, so you have done your literature collection. You have not yet studied it, you have just collected it. So now you have to keep it in a way that you're going to shift from Perplexity to Zotero and Zotero to Notebook LM. So you have to prepare the shift to Notebook LM. So for that, you need to create what is called an export. So you go here, you click this first, and make sure that none of these are clicked or highlighted. Just click the folder you want, right click on that, and you see that create bibliography from this collection. So you just take bibliography from this collection and create that. Now it brings up this window and you can just see the styles of the citation that is there. We will, there is only limited number, but you can just choose any one for the moment. And you can see that you display citations as a footnotes or endnotes. Endnotes is what our medical journals use. So we'll leave it as endnotes. And the output mode is this. There are different ways to export it. You can, this RTF is a rich text format which can be opened in your Word, Microsoft Word, or HTML, which
So,
is like a web page. For the
so
moment,
Ishwar,
yeah,
your screen is, I think, freezed. We are,
one second.
uh, yeah, we are
Okay.
just on this. Hmm.
Okay. So, all right, okay. So
Ishwar, can you just repeat as Molin sir said that your screen
one
is.
second, I'll do one thing. I'll just 1 second, I'll stop. Allow me to share the entire desktop for a moment.
Yeah.
Makes it easy for you. All right, now you can see.
Yes. So
So this
now
is
you go back to the selection of torticollis folder,
okay. So this is where
and
you
then
are, and you just select this, go
yeah.
right click, generate bibliography, create bibliography from this collection, and brings up to
Okay.
the screen. And here you can see footnotes or endnotes. You can choose endnote. You can also change the citation style. There is only limited styles which are available.
There's
Uh,
Vancouver is there.
yeah,
Yeah.
so Vancouver is there, and then bibliography as uh, as a style, and you can copy the contents to clipboard, or you can create a file. Now, for the purpose of this demo, it's easier. We can just copy to the clipboard and click OK. Right? That's our job with Zotero is done. So to this, I have just created about 10 of this. You can have 20, 30, 40, 50, how much ever you want. And you can still do the same. And it will copy the entire thing into a clipboard. Now I'll go back to my, yeah. So now I go back to a
So
tool called Notebook LM. So that's the link between Zotero and Notebook LM. So I'm going to this. Hope you can see the screen.
yes.
So you can go to this website notebooklm.google.com, and everybody knows from I think OrthoTV has done very well to popularize the deep dive. That is only a very very superficial aspect of Notebook LM. It's much more powerful, and it is the tool to go when you're starting out on AI and you want to avoid hallucination. Notebook LM is what is called source grounded AI. It will generate only stuff from what it has already been submitted. That is the sources which has been submitted to it. It won't go out into the net, pluck out stuff. It will not do that. So because of that, it doesn't hallucinate. It will just, it does hallucinate, but it is very, very minimal. But, it's much, much more safer for you. You don't have to double check every small thing. So here on the left pane, you have the sources. We have the sources. Yeah. And this is where
Yeah.
you put in all your stuff. So remember, we had copied our stuff to clipboard from Zotero. So we
Hmm.
are taking off from that. You say add sources. And here you see copied text. You can have upload files, but upload files allows only certain types of format. And that is why I did not export it in Zotero. Zotero doesn't allow, PDF and all that. So you'll have to put it into the format like RTF or HTML, which Zotero allows, then convert it to a PDF, then upload it here. Easier way is to just copy from there and use the copy text here and paste that same thing. So all our citations which we had collected in Zotero is now being pasted here. You see 1, 2, 3, and it about about 8 is there. So we'll say insert, but I have already done that. So it has, that has already been, done yesterday. So it's there. So once you've done that, when you click yes, it will pull out that and put it here. And it'll automatically, you can, any PDF is there, you can upload those PDF and it'll add. So to upload a PDF, you can go to those, you can say upload files, and So already I have the files here, and so we have a PDF, and you can upload the PDF. So once you have done this source uploading, Notebook LM does what is called indexing. It will index it, it will link it, it will see whether there is a cross reference, all those things. And it will give you this chat window, which is in the middle. So the chat window is in the middle, and it will give a small abstract, a very small abstract, not particularly cited or anything. But you can ask it questions after that point. And the questions it will answer based only on the sources which you have selected. Remember, once you add the sources, you can untick any one of them. You can untick any one of them, and each time you untick, it will re-index the whole thing. So I'll leave these ticked. So it is going to use all these sources to build up whatever you're going to ask about it. So remember, you have collected all those papers. You don't have the time to sit and study, but you have some idea in my head, which I want to know what these papers say on that. So I'll ask it a question just like our regular chat. Based on the papers in the notebook, what is the consensus on the long-term outcome? Again, same after 10 years of bipolar release. If you ask it that, it will give you the summary based on these papers, and your review literature is basically done. And you can see that it brings out the citation. So for each thing it quotes, it will bring out the citation. So its citations will be exactly the sources you have put. And it will bring out a very nice write-up for you. And you can save it to what is called a note. And if you not satisfied, you can ask it another question. You can give it a thumbs down, and you can ask further questions which it suggests. These are the questions it suggests based on the sources you have provided. So it's very useful that way. If you don't know the leading questions to ask, it will help you with that. So I asked it a second question: which paper specifically discusses the impact of impact of age at surgery on the long-term things, and it brings out a beautiful. Remember, this is just a few of the sources which I have put. We had about 28 in Perplexity. I just put, for the purpose of the demo, about 5 or 6 here. So in those 5 or 6, and that is why I called it a source grounded AI. It will only, for it, the world of literature is only these 8 papers, nothing more, nothing less. So it will give out answers based only on that. So it will just summarize the findings, and it will give you this, which you can save to note, and it will allow you to ask further questions. It will suggest questions. So again, persisted, I asked it another question: what are the limitations in the gaps in the current literature? So that is what we basically want to do. We don't want to publish the same thing which has already been published. So we want to find out gaps which we want to address. So they ask that, and then again, it will give you the same write-up. And for each write-up, remember, it gives the citation. So once you've done that, you can actually save to note. If you get something that you like, you can you can save to note. So I asked it a few more questions. So this is one of the scores that are there. So I asked it about this, and it gives a beautiful write-up of the score itself, which is there in one of the papers. Again, it doesn't go outside these papers. If it doesn't know, it says it doesn't know, or these papers don't have sufficient information, and leaves you at that. Okay, so this we'll stop here, and we come to the third, right pane. This is the most exciting part of Notebook LM, and this is where you have this several actions you can do based on the indexing that has already been done on the source. And you can, these we will skip over these for the moment. These are not right now. We can deal with that later. But the most useful thing for us at the moment is this report. So if you click on this report, it will give you a nice choice. and you have the literature review, there is a clinical monograph. I think these are the two most important things for us. So I clicked literature review once, I clicked monograph once, and you can make any study guide, you can make a blog post also. So all these options are there. So on this pane, these are the files which are created. Remember I showed you that each time it answers, it gives you an option to save to note. Once you save to note, it comes here. So the first one is the question I asked it about gaps and challenges, then the timing. So each of these are notes, which basically what it has already put out here, which it saves for our future reference. So I click that, it gives you that note. This is basically the same thing that appeared in the chat window. So there is nothing new there. But once you create this report and you do search this review literature or monograph, it creates this beautiful monograph. This is where your abstract and manuscript is almost done, and you have a nice manuscript, and that is something to start. It is not fully done yet, and at the end of it, you will have a sorry, this is monograph, and then if you go to literature review, it'll have a literature review that goes through the same thing. It has got the introduction, it has got the studies supporting it, and as you go down, you will have the bibliography towards the end. So you have right now there's only 2 papers, so it gives you those 2 papers, but if you have 20, 30 papers, it will list them here. So your literature review is done. So imagine the power of this literature review is done. So now you are in the car and you're commuting to work, and you got about time, and you don't have time to read all this. That is when the audio review comes in. If you click audio review, it will audio overview. It will play around for some time, and it will create a nice. It will do this generating audio review, which will be available for you to hear and summarize the gist of all these papers. So there is a way in which you can customize this audio review, what it does. The standard one is not very interesting, but this deep dive is the default chosen one. You can do a critique, you can do a debate, and you can put further prompts here on how it should build the audio review. So that we will keep for later. For the purpose of this demo, this is the most interesting thing. So there is something called mind map, which I generated, and is very, very interesting as well. So this is mind map. So here you have your conjugate. This is just to build your knowledge. So you have CMT here, and then the various headings. It just takes you through various headings. You can just see the management. You can see conservative. So these are headings and surgical interventions. See, this is just based on those 2 papers, it has created this. So imagine the kind of tools at your disposal. So and any one of this you click. So suppose you want to find out, parents are always concerned with the facial remodeling. So click that, and it takes you back to the exact query on that. And it is now trying to answer that query. So I'm putting this query based on the mind map, and it answers the query. And this is what this 2, 3 papers which I have listed says about facial remodeling. So you can find out gaps. So if you spend a little time on this mind map, you will pick out lacunae in the literature. And as you go through this this demo, you will understand that it is high time the journal stopped something called review literature, because it is absolutely in the era of AI. It is just half an hour's work to anybody to generate a review literature. So that is your job is done. So now we have to we'll go back to the presentation. So we have collected the you use this perplexity. We have found out. We have gone through Zotero. We have saved stuff in Zotero, and we have piped it to Notebook LM. Now we want to go to Gemini. Gemini is the next point. where you want to output and finally generate the manuscript, build the statistics for it and all that. You have the kernel of the manuscript already done for you, that is done by Notebook LM. And that has not searched the web, it has used only your sources. Okay, so let's go back to here. All right, let's go back to go to Gemini now. So here is where I've started to put the chart which Vaibhav had given me. So this is the chart which I have uploaded to it, and that I have anonymized it, taken out the patient data from it, the patient name from it, identifying names and all that, and I've created this CSV without the names, and so this anonymized CSV I've uploaded. I asked it to create a violin plot for that based on this, and to create the distribution and find out the correlation between age at surgery and post-operative, and also I asked it to calculate the Pearson's correlation coefficient. Just that one query, and you see this beautiful graph, which is a download button right next to it. What used to take us weeks of work going to the statistician and back and putting it on SPSS and doing all this jugglery is taken just hardly 1 minute. And it will also explain this graph nicely for us. We can see it explains what this graph does. So now I'll move on to the manuscript generation. Now we know that it can do the statistics. So I'll move on to the manuscript generation. So I took the Notebook LM. One of the things it gave, I think it was, yeah. So I went to the Notebook LM. I gave it, this is called the prompt. The prompt is what you give the AI, and usually you say that, the tone of the manuscript and the way in which it should look. So this is a very basic prompt I put. As a senior academic researcher specializing in pediatric orthopedics, something that will be fit for Journal of Pediatric Orthopedics. And I asked it to write an introduction. So it gave me a nice little paragraph of introduction of CMT. So that's the manuscript, and you can see that it has put in the citations also. So I copied this entire thing. You can do the copy button here, and I can paste it into Gemini here. So I put this here, and I asked you to, refine this introduction. I asked you to keep it, and I asked you to refine his introduction, and it actually generated an image for me out of nothing. So it's that powerful. I didn't ask it to generate an image, it did it itself, I think. Anyway, so this is the prompt, and you can see that it nicely brings out the summary. So next, I asked you to generate a methods section, and I gave it the methods I want. Okay, just like how we do in our thesis, a very basic method section. And I asked it to give it the statistical analysis we'll be using, the outcome score we'll be using, right? That's all we need to decide. I asked it to do that, and it drafted me a beautiful, that's it, your manuscript is done. And remember I have already uploaded the Excel sheet. So I asked you to write the results and put the figures. So you will just be amazed at how easy this whole thing becomes. So it just generated the results and the figures, and based on the classification by Cheng and Tang, and everything done. So this is again something that I want to point out how dangerous this is. So up here, when I put the methods, I deliberately put approximately 340 words. I put 50 patients, but in the Excel sheet, we had only 18 patients, right? It did not understand what is right and what is wrong. So it generated the methods for those number of patients. So you see here 50 patients. It is not matching the Excel sheet we have uploaded. So we have to specifically ask it to do it exactly. So if I would, what would be the method section and result look like if I modified it and ran it as per the real data in the CSV file? That is what Vaibhav gave me based on that. So no problem, it completely modified that and generated. I generated the fake data first, then I generated the real data again, just to show you how powerful it is and in fact how dangerous it is. So be very careful. It is a very, it cuts both ways. But it generates the same thing and it will give you a beautiful summary here. So then I asked it to do the discussion bit. Then it did the discussion. That's all. It just generated the discussion. And so again, I'll show you how dangerous it is. So in this particular results, there is actually the older children seem to fare better. That is the analysis that that it actually does. So here, as per the data that was given to me, indicate that age itself should not be a contraindication for surgery, something that we have always been taught that younger the age, the better the result. So as per this result, the real result, the CSV, this is the conclusion. But I can generate conclusions based on the biases I already have. So if I suppose ask you to generate a discussion based on the fact that younger surgery is associated with better outcome, no problem. Uses the same data and generates that. Because this is Gemini, it is not source grounded UI. There are no sources like Notebook LM. This fetches from the internet. And you can see these little links which all goes to internet. It can spin it. You can spin the story. So you have to be very, very careful as to what you're going to ask it, because you might get it. So be very careful. So that I think is the gist of what I wanted to demo. This gives you a very basic workflow. So we have gone through the stage 1, the literature review. We have gone through Notebook LM. You have to maintain human oversight, which is paramount. Verify all the output, document every single step, because in AI it's very difficult to retrace whatever you have done. You ask it the same question 2 times, it will give you completely different output. So you'll have to document everything and use the appropriate tools. There are so many at your disposal at the moment. And this is Notebook LM, the workflow. And yeah, so the data analysis, I think, stage 2 is data management. It gives you the complete statistics. Actually, I had generated a few more plots. So these are all plots which was generated by it, and citation. So once the manuscript is done, we have now generated the manuscript. Once the manuscript is done, you have to put back those citations. So we'll have to read through the manuscript and we can just put the citations. And that is where we come to our final step. We got to go to Google Docs. So we paste whatever thing that Gemini is given. So Gemini has given this nice little thing. You copy that whole thing. You come here to Google Docs and you paste it. So you have this entire manuscript now. So suppose you want to insert a citation here. So here I want to insert a citation. If you are having Google Docs, you have this Zotero inside of Google Docs. It used to be difficult. Now there is a Zotero inside Google Docs and you can get it from the Chrome Web Store. So you can click this. Because I have already linked my Zotero and this, it will fetch the same citation. So at that point, whichever citation I want to add, I just add, and it will. Remember, we had, so there is a glitch in this, so that's why. But otherwise, I have added a couple, so it will come right here. It will come right here as a footnote. So as you build your manuscript, you will have citations build as at the end. So I have done one for the first page here. You can see this is the first citation. So you can see a one here. You can see a little citation mark here, and that thing comes here. So suppose you don't want this 3, or you want to switch the numbers, all that can be done. You can just take away, you can just take away that. You can just take away that. I think there is a glitch in this link, that's why. Otherwise, if you take away this, the bottom one, it will automatically update the numbering, which is the most difficult part of a citation. So that completes your manuscript. So you have right from the end, you have so that is manuscript publication, and then I advise strongly, if you have not got this book, to read it. It's a very nice book.
From research to
So right all the way from where you have just a title, right down to the manuscript, we have verified. We have done the manuscript and citations. I know this is a very fast overview, and we have very, very limited tools which I have used. You can combine our first lecture and this to create your own workflow. So the possibilities are endless. So in the limited time available, I just wanted you to, share with you one particular workflow which you might use. This advantage of this is that one subscription to Google will get you both Notebook LM and Google Gemini Pro. You will need a separate thing for Perplexity, but it's not really necessary unless you are a heavy user to get Perplexity subscription. You can as well do with just Gemini and Notebook LM to do this work for you, and Zotero. So this is a very, very beginner level AI thing which you can do to get the uh, things.
okay.
And there
Yeah.
are some issues which you might come. Sometimes Notebook LM can't read a PDF, citations will have issues. All these things, and especially Gemini, especially since we are dealing with children data here, many times it will report, I can't help with that, because wherever it picks out stuff that it is red flagging for child safety, things like pornography, all those things, it will red flag, and immediately it says, I can't help with that. So you'll have to quite at times reword your prompt so that you can get an answer you want. And so always do a pre-flight check, find out all your tools are done, and make sure that your make sure your tools are reporting properly the DOIs and the thing. So this entire workflow generated, including this presentation, was all generated in under 1 hour, right? So the entire workflow, the presentation, this entire thing was just 1 hour stuff. So imagine the power that is at our disposal. I think it is high time that we educate ourselves and start using that. Yeah.
Yes, that was a great talk, Ishwar, and I'm sure more we use it, more will come to know the utility, at the same time limitations, uh, and we may get back to this. Um, there's also calls for creating a new group of AI in research, and then people can inquire with you that we have done this step and now it is this and that, because that will help. What I saw is there were only 15 contributors in a Pawsey newsletter as far as the publications is concerned, out of maybe 600, 700 total members. So that shows that how many of us are are doing publications. Now we know that we have the treasure of patients and clinical information, but due to a lack of knowledge and lack of time and probably lack of motivation, we do not publish. Maybe I might have say congenital posteromedial curvature, I have 100 cases, but I now see the papers which has published only 15 cases, and people are following and citing those papers. So maybe this would be the first step to collect our own data. I see a lot of Chinese studies coming up, and probably I review a lot of them. And at times I can recognize that these are not, personally written. So, but at least they are utilizing these resources, and we are not relying on them completely, but it will help us saving time. There was a question from Kunal. Let me see what it is. That data analysis is correct as done by or needs to be checked every step.
No, as long as you are, the Excel sheet is given, that is fine. That is not an issue. But what I do is, so if you go back, I had actually generated the Python code for that. So just mind sharing the screen.
Yeah.
So there is a Python code I generated. So if you see here, there is a Python code actually. This is the Python code that generates that actually generates the statistics needed, the plots and all those things. So you can play with it. That's why I said any hardcore researcher, it is well advised to actually for him or her to familiarize with Python, especially the data part of it, because that will help verify whatever that has been seen is not hallucination. You can double check all this, but as long as you put in data, it's math, so it doesn't hallucinate.
And again, it's very important to provide a, a perfect question or prompt, and we have to train our own AI
Yeah.
models. That's what I learned. That it's just like a child, and as you keep on, or companion, if you keep on communicating with them, and they'll give you more refined and more
Correct.
reliable answers. So yeah, I think Ishwar, let's start with it. How do you think we should plan the next thing, or we may come up with some uh, maybe my fellows will work on this. We'll download this Perplexity and Zotero and Notebook LM and see how it works,
Just
and then we can.
basically try a few. So one second, I have a couple of, yeah. One second, one second. Sorry. It'll take a few minutes, just a couple of slides.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Abhijit, good morning.
Sir, about Python, sir, how to learn and where to learn? Because I started, but it is not that easy.
No, Python is probably the most approachable, one of the most approachable programming languages. Um, um, uh, uh, you can take any of these free courses, YouTube and all that. There is something called free courses channel in YouTube, which will help you get started with Python. You need to keep working on it and start with something not data science part of it, which is math intensive. Start with some
Yes.
basic programming, get an idea of the
Yes.
thing, and then go on to the data. It takes about 6 months time to be comfortable to get to the data science part of it.
Yes, sir.
So that's the learning curve you should be prepared for. But if you are into research, hardcore research, then I think it is well worth the time investing in Python.
Okay.
There are alternatives like R, the
Yes,
capital
sir.
R
It
letters.
is a
R
bit
is
moved
another.
off, sir.
Yeah, there is SQL. These are two other options you have, but Python is more general and will serve you in other things also. So Python is probably, as of now, the language to go to.
Okay, sir.
So what I've done is I've created a group already, AI and Pediatric Ortho Research. I've added you, Abhijit, also.
Thank you, sir. Highly interested, sir.
And I'll share the link with all the fellows who are keen on learning more. I'm sure that you will have a lot of questions, and we can discuss that in a separate. Yeah, sure, you can go, and then we'll conclude this session.
Yep. So that's it. You can go through this. So adapting it. Sorry, this. Yeah. So this is the steps you need to do. Install Zotero 7, Zotero connector. Start with a pilot project. Don't start with something massive like your thesis or a major landmark paper you are trying to write. Small focused paper you can ask basic clinical question, work on that, anything of those types, and start to practice the flow. Get sure you have the tools, and then go through this video once again and try to follow it first few times, and then you can branch off and do your own thing as you get comfortable with the tools. This is just, as I said, there's just one way to link up these tools. You can do it any way you want. So this, I suggest this method would be the next step to do. Maybe keep yourself 1 month for that, start Python, and give yourself 6 months to get familiar with Python, just so that you can verify the stats it throws at you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much. And we'll start applying it. And in the course of this week, we'll decide how to move further and how further talk will make all the younger fellows help utilizing these tools. But this was very informative, Ishwar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Have a good day. Take care,
Good day.
everyone.